picture this. It's 2 a.m. It's raining.
Okay.
You're in a city straight out of, a noir film. Or maybe just a really lonely highway diner.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Right. And what is the one thing that instantly sets that mood? It's that hum, that flicker, and that really intense, saturated glow of a neon sign.
Definitely.
It's iconic. I mean, it is pure atmosphere.
It's evocative, certainly. But, for anyone who has ever actually owned one of those vintage signs, or, say, managed a business that had to rely on one, that glow triggers a very different set of associations.
Oh, I can imagine. You hear that buzz, and instead of feeling cool, you just instinctively clutch your wallet.
Exactly. You think of fragile glass, you think of finicky transformers, fire marshals, and an electric meter that's spinning so fast it might actually achieve liftoff.
Yeah.
For decades, that aesthetic was a penalty. It was a luxury of energy consumption.
But here's the thing, though. We are seeing neon everywhere lately.
Everywhere.
It's in coffee shops, people's living rooms, Twitch streamer backdrops. And it really got me wondering, in an era where we are obsessed with efficiency,
Right.
where we have, smart thermostats and we obsess over miles per gallon, is that aesthetic glow still a financial vampire? Or has the game completely changed?
It's the exact right question to ask. Because while the visual language hasn't changed, we definitely still crave that look.
Absolutely.
The technology underneath it has undergone a really radical transformation.
So to get to the bottom of this, we are doing a deep dive today into a really illuminating source. It's titled Illuminating Efficiency, the True Cost of LED Neon. And honestly, I went in expecting some marketing fluff.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No, it is heavy on the engineering.
It is. This text serves as a much-needed reality check. It challenges that baseline assumption that bright and colorful automatically has to equal expensive and wasteful.
The mission here is to strip away the branding. We want to look at the actual electrical engineering, the thermodynamics, and the hard math of what it actually costs to run modern LED neon versus the old-school glass variety.
So let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us just use the word neon to describe literally anything that glows in a tube.
Guilty as charged for most people, yeah.
But physically, if I put a vintage sign right next to a modern one, they aren't the same thing at all, are they?
Not even close. It's like comparing a steam engine to an electric vehicle.
Oh, wow.
They both move you forward, sure, but the mechanism, the actual physics of how they generate that energy is fundamentally different.
Okay, let's start with the steam engine then. Traditional neon.
Yeah.
How does that actually work, and why is the source calling it out for being such a massive energy hog?
So traditional neon is all about brute force physics.
Brute force.
Yeah. You have a sealed glass tube filled with a noble gas, usually neon or argon. Now, noble gases are happy. They don't want to react with anything.
They're stable.
Exactly. To get that gas to glow, you have to hit it with a massive amount of electrical pressure to literally strip electrons away from the atoms.
Which is
We call that ionization.
ionization. That sounds intense.
It is intense. To achieve that, you can't just plug the thing into a wall. You need a step-up transformer.
Right.
You're taking your standard 120 volts from the outlet and ramping it up to anywhere between 2,000 and 15,000 volts.
15,000 volts. That sounds completely terrifying.
It's extremely high voltage. That's why you always see those caged boxes and literal danger signs behind old neon installations. You are essentially creating a contained lightning storm inside a glass tube.
A contained lightning storm. Wow.
And maintaining that plasma state requires a constant heavy draw of power.
Okay, so that is the old guard. Now let's look at the Challenger LED neon. The source describes this as, let me find it, low voltage LED strips enclosed in flexible tubing. So how's the physics different here?
It's a completely different mechanism. There is no gas to ionize. There's no high voltage arc. You are running a current through a semiconductor, a light-emitting diode. We call this electroluminescence.
Okay, explain that like I didn't major in physics.
Think of it like a slide. Electrons move through the chip material, they drop into a lower energy state, which we call a hole, and as they drop, they release that excess energy as a photon.
A particle of light.
Exactly, a particle of light. It's solid-state physics. It happens at very low voltages, usually just 12 or 24 volts.
So we are trading 15,000 volts for 12 volts.
Correct. And that right there is where the efficiency gap comes from. The source states that LED neon uses 70 to 80% less energy than traditional neon.
80% is a massive number. I mean, usually when we talk about new and improved tech on this show, we're looking at, what, 10%? Maybe 15?
Right. A 10% efficiency gain in a car engine is considered revolutionary. 80% is a generational leap. It's the difference between the energy required to boil a pot of water versus the energy required to just light a match.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
I've seen cheap LEDs that look, well, cheap.
The little dots.
Yes, they have those individual little dots. Traditional neon has that beautiful, smooth, continuous line of light. Does the source address the dot factor?
That's a great point, and it's where the neon part of LED neon comes into play. The source explains that these aren't just bare strips. They are encased in a highly specialized silicone or PVC jacket that actively diffuses the light.
Oh, so it blurs it.
Right, it mimics the dispersion of gas in a tube. So you get that solid, unbroken line of light without the dots, but you're doing it with microchips instead of plasma.
Okay, so visually we are getting really close. And I want to talk about color. Because with old neon, the color was literally chemistry, right? Neon gas glows red, argon glows blue.
Exactly. If you wanted green, you had to use argon gas and then actually coat the inside of the glass with a yellow phosphor. It was a chemical recipe.
And with LED.
It's digital. You are mixing red, green, and blue diodes to create virtually any color you want. You aren't limited by the periodic table anymore.
Which I assume makes manufacturing a lot easier.
Infinitely easier. But let's jump back to that 80% efficiency claim.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ground this in reality, because percentages are great for marketing, but they don't help you pay your actual utility bills.
Fair point. Let's do the wallet test.
Yeah.
The source gives us some specific wattages, so let's actually crunch the numbers.
Let's do it.
The source says a typical LED neon sign consumes between 20 and 60 watts. Let's just take the high end. 60 watts.
Okay.
It's roughly the same as a standard old school light bulb, right?
Just one single incandescent bulb, yes.
Okay, so let's say I'm a Twitch streamer, or I own a small cafe, and I run this sign for, let's say, 10 hours a day.
Okay, grab your mental calculator. 60 watts times 10 hours is 600 watt hours. That is 0.6 kilowatt hours per day.
And what is the going rate for electricity these days?
The national average is hovering right around 16 cents per kilowatt hour. So 0.6 times 16 cents, you are looking at roughly 9 or 10 cents a day.
10 cents. So for a whole month, that's what, $3?
Roughly $3. Less than the price of one latte to run your open sign or your cool background logo for the entire month.
Now compare that to the glass version.
A comparable traditional neon sign might pull 300 to 400 watts. So you're looking at 5 to 6 times the cost. Instead of $3 a month, you're looking at $15 to $20.
Okay, so $20 isn't bankrupting anyone, but it definitely adds up. That's $240 a year versus $36 a year.
It does add up, but here's the hidden cost the source really emphasizes, and this is the one people always forget: installation and maintenance.
Oh, right, because of the voltage we talked about.
Precisely. If you buy a traditional glass neon sign, you can't just hang it with a command strip. You often need a licensed electrician because you are dealing with high voltage transformers. You have to worry about fire codes. You need special standoffs because the glass gets physically hot.
Whereas the LED sign,
It comes with a 12-volt power brick. It's literally like a laptop charger. You plug it right into the wall, zero installation cost. That is a massive economic factor that doesn't show up on the monthly utility bill, but it absolutely hits your wallet up front.
speaking of things hitting your wallet or maybe burning a hole in it, let's talk about heat. You mentioned earlier that old neon is lightning in a bottle. That implies heat, doesn't it?
It does. It's the first law of thermodynamics. Energy doesn't just disappear. If you pump 400 watts into a sign and only a fraction of that comes out as visible light,
The rest has to go somewhere.
then it goes to thermal energy. Traditional neon transformers are notorious for getting incredibly hot. The glass tubes themselves get warm. You are essentially running a wall heater.
Which, if it's the middle of summer, implies you're now paying your AC to fight your neon sign?
Exactly. You are paying twice, once to generate the heat and once to remove it. The source contrasts this directly with LEDs, which have a very high luminous efficacy. Most of the energy becomes light. They stay cool to the touch.
And that is a huge safety thing too, right? Because I wouldn't put a glass neon sign in a kid's bedroom.
Absolutely not. Between the heat, the high voltage, and the breakable glass, it's a massive hazard. LED neon, because it stays cool and runs on low voltage, is perfectly safe to mount on drywall, near curtains, or completely within reach of people.
Now, there is another waste product of traditional neon we haven't even touched on yet. The sound, the famous zzz.
Hum.
Is that just a sound effect from movies, or is that real physics?
Oh, it is very real physics. It's called magnetostriction. Inside those old iron core transformers, the magnetic field is flipping back and forth 60 times a second. That actually causes the iron plates inside the transformer to physically expand and contract slightly. They are vibrating.
Wait, so the hum is literally the sound of the metal physically shaking.
Exactly. And the older the transformer gets, the looser those plates get, and the louder the hum becomes.
And LEDs.
Silence. They use electronic drivers, which are switch mode power supplies. They operate at frequencies way above human hearing, so you get the glow without the headache.
I feel like we are really beating up on traditional neon a bit here, but the efficiency gap is just so wide.
Yeah.
But let's talk about longevity, because I'm a bit skeptical. Marketing always says lasts a lifetime, and then the thing breaks in a year.
Yeah.
The source claims a lifespan of 30,000 to 50,000 hours for LED neon.
Right.
50,000 hours is what? 5 years continuous?
If you ran it 24/7, yes. If you run it 8 hours a day, you're looking at 17 years.
But does it actually last that long? Or does it just suddenly burn out?
Well, this is where the industry standard comes in. It's called L70. With an incandescent bulb or a fluorescent tube, when it dies, it dies. Pop. Dark.
Yeah.
LEDs don't usually fail catastrophically like that. They degrade. L70 means the point at which the light is 70% as bright as it was on day one.
So at 50,000 hours, it's not dead. It's just dimmer.
Correct. It fades very slowly. So when the source says 50,000 hours, that is the useful life. It might technically still emit light for years after that.
But let's be real. Electronics fail. Usually it's not the light, it's the power supply.
That is a very fair critique. The power brick is usually the weak link in the chain. It might fail after 5 or 7 years, but replacing a $20 power brick is a whole lot easier than regassing a glass tube.
Regassing, you have to refill them.
Oh, yes. Traditional neon leaks over time. The gas escapes or microscopic impurities get in, the color shifts, it starts to flicker. Repairing it requires a specialist to essentially perform open-heart surgery on the glass.
Versus the LED source, which specifically mentions durability.
Think about the materials. Glass is incredibly brittle. If you hit it, it shatters. LED neon is housed in silicone or PVC. You can bend it, you can drop it, it's rugged. The source specifically mentions this in the context of shipping. One of the biggest hidden costs of traditional neon was just getting it to the customer without it breaking in transit.
That brings us to the environmental angle.
Yeah.
Because if I'm throwing away less broken stuff, that's automatically good. But the source mentioned something I hadn't even thought about. Toxicity.
This is a big one. We mentioned earlier that blue neon often uses argon gas. To make argon glow brightly, they often have to add a drop of mercury to the tube.
Mercury, as in hazardous waste.
As in, if that tube breaks, you technically have a hazmat situation in your living room. It's a small amount, but it is there. And when those signs inevitably go to a landfill, that mercury leaches into the ground.
And LED neon.
RoHS compliant. No mercury, no heavy metals. And because it lasts so much longer, the total carbon footprint of manufacturing and transport is significantly lower.
It really seems like the technology has fully matured from just a cheap alternative to the superior standard.
That's a very fair assessment. The source actually quotes a perspective from heartneon.com, which I think frames this perfectly. They focus on this idea that modern light should be expressive without being wasteful.
I caught that. It's the idea that energy efficiency is no longer just a bonus feature. It is the baseline expectation for modern consumers.
Exactly. 10 years ago, you had to choose. You could have the cool, artistic, buzzing neon sign that cost an absolute fortune to run, or you could have the boring, efficient light. We are now at the point where you don't have to compromise at all. You can have the aesthetic without the guilt.
It effectively democratizes the vibe. You don't need a huge corporate budget to have custom signage anymore.
Right. It takes the scarce, which is custom glass blowing, and makes it abundant through semiconductor manufacturing.
So let's bring this all together. If you have been debating getting some neon for your space, what is the ultimate verdict?
The verdict from the source is incredibly clear. The fear of the neon electric bill is a relic. It is essentially a ghost story based on obsolete technology.
We are talking 80% less energy, no heat, no hum, no mercury, and a lifespan that could Basically, see your toddler off to college.
And a running cost of literally pennies per day. It's a no-brainer.
It's fascinating how we cling to the idea of a technology like the look of it, long after we've abandoned the actual mechanics. We want the 1940s noir look, but we demand 2024 efficiency.
And that is exactly what good engineering does. It preserves the utility, or in this specific case, the beauty, while completely refining the engine underneath.
Before we wrap up, I know you always like to leave us with a broader question. We have solved the mystery of the neon sign, but where does this leave us moving forward?
You know, it brings up a really provocative thought for me. We spent this whole deep dive talking about how neon went from a gas tube energy hog to a hyper-efficient solid-state technology. And it happens so quietly. It makes me wonder, what other heavy technologies in our homes are currently undergoing this exact same revolution?
Oh, that is interesting.
We accept that water heaters or HVAC systems or even our kitchen appliances work a certain way just because that's how they've always worked. But just like the neon sign, are there other appliances sitting in our houses right now that are completely stuck in their gas tube era? Are we going to look back in 10 years at our toaster or our dryer and say, I can't believe we used to burn that much energy just to do that?
That is a question worth staring at the ceiling and thinking about tonight.
Yeah.
Preferably by the light of a very efficient, very cool LED sign.
Ideally.
Thanks for diving in with us, everyone. Stay curious, stay efficient, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.